According to a study, American teens report stress levels on par with adults, and during the school year, it's higher. Dr. Elaine Ducharme, a clinical psychologist, is here to help our teens deal with stress. Dr. Ducharme, it's really sad to think how stressful teenagers are.
They really are stressed, and the American Psychological Association just released a study in February, and they do a Stress in America survey every year, and this year they looked at teens' levels of stress. And it was amazing because our teens are really stressed, and they're stressed about a lot of different things. They're stressed primarily about school. They're stressed about what will happen to them after school, you know, college, career, and looking at the job market, getting very frightened. And then family finances, which is kind of an interesting one, that they really are concerned about, how is my family surviving? That most of the kids really don't realize how much stress affects their bodies. You know, they'll say, if you say to them, does it affect your mental health or your physical health? No, 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 I'm just stressed, I'm just stressed. But it's really a tough time for them.
Yes, and it seems they're way too young, and there's a lot of things that do affect teens nowadays that didn't affect teens way back when. So it definitely is a different time.
It is. Parents will say, what does my kid have to be stressed about? You know, they don't have to pay the bills, they don't have to do this. But a lot of our kids are taking AP classes, they've got crazy schedules, they're expected to work, they're expected to do a lot of things. And the stress levels with the phones and the constant, there's no downtime. The social media, the sports, it gets a little out of hand.
Now you're going to give us 10 tips, give our parents 10 tips on how to manage their teens' stress. The first one is to not underestimate the stress that they are feeling.
Really, you know, when kids say I'm stressed out, if you dismiss that, you're going to lose communication with your kid. So believe them, listen, and say, tell me about it, and really know, because some kids get so stressed out, they do get clinically depressed. We've had kids commit suicide when they're that stressed. We don't know what the stress is about, whether it's bullying, whatever. So please, you know, pay attention and don't underestimate it.
Because they legitimately can be stressed.
Exactly.
Fit in some one-on-one time. That can make a big difference in their lives and yours too.
It really can. You know, our kids need us. Even though teenagers will say, I don't need you, I want to be with my friends are my family. I hear that line all the time. But the reality is they need you. So when they're in the car and the doors are shut and you're going down the highway, it's harder for them to kind of jump out. They don't usually do that. So it's a really good time to try and say, can we talk about it in a casual way? The other time is right before bed. You know, because sometimes as they're winding down, just going in to sit down and say goodnight to them, sometimes then their defenses are down and they'll be willing to talk to you about what's going on.
Yeah, and I think especially when they do get older, they do appreciate that, you know, that you did reach out and help them even when they felt like you didn't want to talk. So when they get a little older, they'll appreciate those moments that you trap them in the car.
Yeah, or even just taking, let's go to Home Depot together. And it's just that little bit of time together. It makes a big difference.
And listen to them. Listen, listen, listen.
Oh my gosh. You know, kids say to me all the time, my parents don't listen. One of the things that parents can remember, it is more important to be heard than to be right. I think we could all benefit from that. But when people feel like you get what you're hearing me, they let down their defenses. They're more willing to cooperate, more willing to listen to you. It's an enormously helpful tip.
Great. Exercising together can be wonderful for both of you.
It can, because it improves your mood. It shows a way of managing stress for both of you, whether it's taking a walk, you know, going to the gym, or even doing a videotape together, you know, in the house. You're laughing together, you're exercising, and you're sharing something, so it's a bonding time.
Absolutely, and something that I think we all try to do, but it's a very difficult thing when both parents are working, is to have more family dinners, because that connection is so beneficial.
You know, we know that the studies show that when families eat dinner together, that there is much less of a chance of kids acting out sexually or drinking too much. So those family dinners are really important, and our lifestyle today is really pushing us away from that. Kids are, you know, playing soccer, all of these different things. And with teenagers, it sometimes is hard because they have a lot going on. But even if you can manage a couple of nights or on the weekends, family dinner together, if I ask kids, do they value it? They all tell me they love it. They love sitting down, mom's cooked, dad's cooked, whoever, and you get to talk and share, and it's a bonding time. Really important for your teens.
And that moment when you all sit down and have dinner together may be the only time during the day when you can actually communicate.
Yeah, absolutely. So you don't want, you know, you want to avoid topics that are really controversial. That's not the time to say, oh, you know, I've been looking at your grades online, because now parents have that ability to look online every 10 minutes and check their grades, and that's really stressful. Avoid those hot topics. Talk about, you know, what's going on in your life. What are we going to do this weekend? You know, I'm so proud of you. That's a great time to compliment your kid, because a lot of times during the day they're feeling like they're not doing a good job or they're stressed out. And when parents take time to just say, I'm proud of you, I like what you're doing, it helps the kid then move on and perform much better.
Of course, and then that will make them look forward to family dinners, not just because of your great meal, but because of how you treat them and how you boost their self-confidence.
No question about it.
Thank you, Dr. Ducharme. We've got 5 more tips coming up, and they're always wonderful, so I appreciate you being here. We are back with Dr. Elaine Ducharme, a clinical psychologist, with more tips to help our teens deal with stress. Believe it or not, teens can be quite stressed, and I'm sure we can understand that as adults. The smallest things can raise our blood pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. And our teens are under a lot more stress, I think, than we were at that age. You know, I think the lifestyle, the world has changed quite a bit, so there's additional stressors on our kids.
Absolutely. And we all know the importance of sleep. Sleep is important, though, as a new parent. I don't really,
you probably aren't getting a whole lot of it.
Yeah, right. I value it, but
right, you value it, but you probably aren't getting it.
Exactly.
And you know, the thing about sleep is our teenagers are staying up really late doing homework. A lot of them that are in AP classes, they have all these assignments, tons of homework, and they go to bed at 12, 1 o'clock, and then they have to be up very early. High schools are probably the earliest of schools that start, whereas actually our teens' sleep cycle, they are better off sleeping a little bit later. So if our kids aren't getting the right sleep, and teens need about 8.5 to 9 hours, if they're not, we're increasing the chance that they're going to have a car accident. They're not going to be able to perform as well in school. So their sleep is really important, and a lot of kids will tell me they skip sleep. You know, they'll go to bed late and they skip, you know, getting good sleep because they have to just get this work done. Yes,
and that's not fair to them to have to miss out on that. They have to understand how important it is. And that's something that you should realize, too, as you get older, too, how important that is.
Sleep is really important. It's a time that our body heals and we get to relax. And if we don't do that, we just don't perform our best ever.
That's wonderful to remind your child,
as well as you,
to get sleep. Laugh together.
You know, laughter is just the best medicine. And if your teen is stressed, if you can find something to get them to laugh about, you remember a story or you do something silly and laugh at yourself, laughing just releases that tension, and it really literally sends a chemical, a hormone, dopamine, through your body. And when you're laughing, you just feel better, and it really lightens the stress.
It's true. It's true. And then maybe your teen will want to spend that time with you because you're having fun together.
Exactly.
And not on their case about the small things all the time.
Right. And they feel very serious a lot of times. If you have a responsible teen, they're looking at all kinds of issues. They're worried about school. They're worried about finances. What are they going to do? What will it be like in college? And if you can just get them to laugh, it just kind of relaxes your whole body.
Absolutely.
And you can handle the next thing a lot better.
And the next tip is to manage your stress in a healthy way. What are some ways that you consider to be healthy?
Well, I think I should tell you the ways that aren't very healthy, and I see kids doing that all the time. I mean, drinking, overeating, not exercising, all of those kinds of things. The things that you can do are start exercising, even if it's a little bit, to start out with. Instead of going for food, think about, am I really that hungry, or could I go take a walk, and when I come back in 20 minutes, if I'm still hungry, maybe I'll have a little bit of snack. Eat healthy foods rather than the junk. You know, if you sit down to a bowl of potato chips, you're going to eat the whole thing. If you take time and cut up an apple and put a little bit of peanut butter on it, you're having a much healthier snack, and you feel better, and your whole body feels better later. Listen to music, go for a walk, talk to a friend. Those are all healthy ways that we can deal with our stress. And we are our kids' role models.
Yes.
There's no question. If they see us coming home and saying, I had a terrible day, I better have a couple of drinks, then we shouldn't be surprised if that's what they're doing as well.
That's so true, and I think we don't even realize that sometimes. And so it's just being aware of our actions and knowing what we should be doing.
We are the role models.
Great reminder.
We really are the role models, and kids will say, oh, I never want to be like my mom doing that. But if that's what they've seen, or with their dad, that's what they're going to probably do to relieve their stress as they get older.
As hard as it may be for parents, limit electronics.
This is huge. One of the things about electronics is kids stay on the phone all night long with their friends till 2, 3 in the morning. The blinking lights of your computer disrupt sleep. So when you have all these different colored lights in your room and the kids have their laptops on, it disrupts their sleep. So get them to charge their phone at a certain time in a box downstairs in the kitchen. All the kids' electronics should be charging in a central charger, because even if your kid doesn't necessarily say they're going to be on the phone, their friends are texting them at 2 and 3 in the morning and waking them up, and it's really not good. So get those electronics out of the room by a certain time, and your kid will start to sleep a lot better.
Makes a lot of sense. I should get the electronics out of my room too.
Yeah,
And
yeah, it's true. It is for all of us.
Is to seek professional help.
Seek professional help. If you're really struggling and you and your kid are just not communicating, therapists, psychologists are really trained at helping you sit down and talk about things and try and work out who needs to be heard, how to communicate. And then the last thing that I wanted to take a second to show everybody was the thumb trick. So we were talking about laughter, Ashley. If you think about something very funny, think about something your kids have done that's made you laugh, okay?
Okay.
Okay, and grab your thumb. Okay, so just grab your thumb and think about it, okay?
Yeah.
And just really feel that feeling in your chest, okay? Now I'm going to ask you to let go and think of one of those nights that you were up late and you were tired and the baby was crying. Let go of your thumb, let go of your thumb. So you're only thinking of it when you're just feeling like, you remember like a bad night with the baby crying?
Yes.
Let your body feel that, notice the difference. Now grab your thumb and think about the funny thing. Your kid is laughing, doing something so silly, okay? And now let go and let your body go back to what was that sad thing that really didn't feel as good. Notice the difference, okay? Can you feel a difference kind of in your chest or a body posture?
Yeah.
If you practice that 10 times and only think of the funny thing when you're holding your thumb, and then go to the sad thing when you let go, practice it 10 times, after a while, all you'll have to do is, even if you're in a bad mood one day, think about grabbing your thumb and you will probably start to giggle. It is amazing. It really is fun. And so the more you do that, just practice 10 times, do it another time. You won't ever have to practice it again. You might grab your thumb, but after a while you can be driving and just think about grabbing your thumb, and that memory will come back and it will lighten your mood.
Great tip, Dr. Ducharme. Thank you for being here with us.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it so much.
It's a pleasure all the time.
Always
Thanks,
a pleasure.
Ashley.
Thank you so much.